Okay, so this particular session is not fully Linux oriented, but still like it's going to be scripting will be the core of the discussion. Okay, we are going to focus mainly on the automation part. But before we get into scripting, okay, we need to understand certain basics of how to write a script, and we need to understand the different way of creating the arrays and how to create the loop types. And there are certain basics which you need to be aware of. Okay, and even if you want to do certain automation or if you want to write the script, you need some basic understanding of the Linux operating system, because most of the exercises that we are going to do is going to be on top of the Linux operating system. So even if you're not very familiar with Linux operating system, you need not worry about it. We will start with what is Linux, and we will understand what is the purpose of scripting. See, if you are planning to take a role of DevOps engineer or a site reliability engineer, or even if you are part of a operations team, either it is cloud operations or on-premises operations team, as a system administrator, the expectation from the management or from your leadership is to automate certain manual tasks. Okay, in order to do the automation, or in order to make things in an automated way, you need to understand how the backend systems work. So that is the reason we have added some content about the file system hierarchy and the system architecture and some of the commands that you need to be familiar with in order to write the script. Also, like you might also need to understand how the installation works, and what are the different benefits or the features of Linux. So that will be the content for the Linux introduction, and we will also get to understand how we deal with user management, group management, because these are all very essential while assigning permissions or while dealing with Linux. So we need to be very familiar with users and groups. And also the help system, which is native within the Linux operating system, okay, is going to provide you uh, a lot of inputs where you can just follow that, and it will be useful for writing the Linux related commands or the syntaxes, right? And followed by, for after we understand all these basics of Linux, so there are certain basic areas we need to be very familiar with, like the file system management, the files and folders management, and also we have to be having very good understanding of how we deal with the hardware resources, especially the system and um, sorry, let me just mute that line. Okay, so how we deal with the hardware resources, especially we need to understand how the CPU works, process works on the Linux platform. So that way we know how to handle certain process management, and what are the differences between the different hardware resources and how to interact, how they interact with each other, right? And before we get into the basics of scripting, so these are the things we will discuss in the next couple of weeks. Okay, so that way you understand what are the areas you will generally deal with on top of Linux in terms of user management, process management, system performance management, and also in certain cases you will also be asked to deal with logs and the packages on the system. And that is the reason we have also added a couple of modules on how to manage the software and packages on Linux operating system, and how to create a schedule tasks and those stuff, right? So these are the basic fundamental things from the Linux perspective you will understand. Meanwhile, we will also try to get you some understanding of the script basics like variables, loops, arrays, and so on. And then only we will get into the scripting portion, how to write a script. And this is going to be a practical oriented session. We will be sharing all the commands and the scripts that we are going to explain. You can also practice them in parallel, and we will provide all these scripts via GitHub portal. So we will be enabling access to your GitHub ID. You can um, fork those, and you can also practice on your local machine. And we will also give you guidance on how you can practice even if you don't have a system locally to practice. There are a lot of options which is available online on how to connect to different Linux systems and practice these scripts and command. Okay, so that is something which we will help you to understand how you can deal with that. So initially, like we will start with Linux and the basic idea that you should have before we start with the scripting. And once we start focusing on the shell scripting, we will also start understanding the difference between the regular shell scripting and the scripting methods that Ansible has introduced. So Ansible is more on the configuration management side. So there are two portions, right? So generally the system provisioning or the software provisioning is happening via different tool sets. For example, the systems might be provisioned using Terraform or different tool set, and even Ansible as a tool can be used for provisioning, but the certain organization, they purely use Ansible predominantly for configuration management. And when I say configuration management, after you set up all the systems and once the systems are running across different environment, all the systems has to have very similar configuration, and we need to find a way to have the similarity or have the uniformity across different environment. So Ansible as a tool is going to provide that particular functionality where you will get complete uniformity across different environment, and whatever the configurations that you are making, if someone is making a drift or if someone is changing something, it is very easier to identify those things, and you can roll back with the Ansible playbooks and so on. So then the 5 or 6 modules which are listed here is going to be very core into the Ansible, and we are going to connect for the next 12 weeks, which is close to 2.5 to 3 months, right? This is going to be a very hands-on practical session. So you will get to understand how to work with Linux from the basics, as well as how to write a script on your own. And end of the session, you can be rest assured that you can write your own shell script, and you can definitely read all the scripts that are available, and you will be on the job to get things done for your respective customers.
So Stan already given the heads up on the topic, right? So what are the topics we are going to cover? So this is absolutely for beginners. So some of you is not from Linux background, so even it is started from the scratch. So it will be helpful for better understanding of Linux environment, and we will cover the basic stuff. And also we have a lot of day-to-day activities like user account management, file system management, software management, so event management, so so resource management, so quite number of tasks we are doing on day-to-day activities as part of Linux administration, right? So so we are going to start with the manual process. So let's say Linux, we have quite number of flavors, right? Red Hat, Ubuntu, SUSE, CentOS. So whatever the OS is available, we are going to use a command to perform a task. So we will learn the manual command line initially, and then we will come up with the scripting, how to automate the process, and then we will go with the logical format in shell scripting. So once everything is covered, then we will get into Ansible. So Ansible is a part of DevOps, so it comes under continuous deployment. So we heard about DevOps, right? So this is a subset of continuous deployment. So it is mainly used for to control machines across the environment. So let's say if we have 1,000+ servers, yeah, it's not only related to Linux. It can be a Windows servers. It can be a storage. It can be a backup. It can be a database. So any platform, right? So if you want to control that, so control means whatever you're doing on the manual. So let's say on day-to-day activities, storage team supposed to do some health check. They supposed to do capacity management. So they supposed to do some kind of ticketing activity like expanding the volume, expanding the aggregate. So some kind of task they will do, right, as part of ticket management, change management. So in ITL we supposed to do kind of task, right? So whatever they are doing manually, we are going to use Ansible to automate the process. It can be a semi-automation with some minor, minimal manual intervention, or else it can be a fully automated solution without any manual touch time, right? So in terms of fully automated solution, so let's say one of the example, like you will get a ticket. So usually once you get a ticket in ticketing tool like ServiceNow or Remedy, it can be assigned to the particular team or group. So we supposed to go and check that ticket, and then the ticket is based on some specific server or specific devices. So we have to connect that server, and we have to validate the issues, and then we have to troubleshoot and remediate that server, that issue, and then we are going to update the commands in the work notes, and we have to change the status of that ticket as closed or complete, right? This is the life cycle of a ticket resolution, right? So if we want to perform the same thing in automated fashion, then we can use either shell scripting or we can use Ansible. So without any manual intervention, let's say some ticket is comes in, we have to go and pitch that ticket, and then we have to validate with the script with logic, and then it's supposed to remediate with the script, and then it's supposed to validate again, and then it will close that ticket. So everything is supposed to be automated. uh, so for that purpose, we can use shell scripting, and also we can use Ansible. Okay, so any questions on the content?
See, we are just explaining what is going to be covered, and we are setting the expectation that you should have out of this particular next 3 months of discussion, right? So even if you want to understand certain topics, whether it will be covered or not, and if you have any general doubts, we will be able to clarify before we get into the module one. Okay, we're just trying to set the context here.
So
Yeah.
uh, um, when we you said you are going to share some GitHub and going to provide some practice for this one. So how that is going to be, you, it's you are going to take it some business scenario, and when I say business scenario, some use cases where you are going to explain that one, or this is okay, this is syntax of this one, you can try with this, like kind of example and other stuff, just in a textbooks, if you see that okay, for loop, this is the statement, like that, or you are going to put it in a use case or something. Okay, here this is what they're asked, and these are all the modules we are working on it, like that kind of example we are going to try that one, Stan.
Okay, so initially, for example, if you start with user management, we supposed to understand, what are the commands will be used to
Mhm,
create a user, or to modify the user, or to delete the user. So
mhm,
even to change the password also, we supposed to go with some commands.
mhm,
So we will understand the commands. What is the purpose of that particular command to perform the task? And then so whatever the task around the particular module, let's say
mhm,
user management is a big package, is a complete task activity.
mhm,
In that we have subtasks like creation, deletion, password management, sudo permission. So it's a subtask, right? So
mhm.
we will go through the commands, and then we will set the complete picture of the activity. And once we will learn individually when the beginning, and then when it comes to shell scripting, we will make it as a bundle. Let's say it's a dynamic way of handling the task. Let's say if users are supposed to perform user account addition, they're supposed to select the choice one. So based on the choice, it will dynamically invoke the particular script using function and all. So it's a complete package will be there. So once we learn that thing, so I mean the GitHub will be updated on daily basis. Let's say if you are learning on Linux today, and at the end of the day, next day, so you will get the content of that particular day in the GitHub. So when it comes to reference, you can refer that document, whenever you want to refer.
Okay. And when we going to talk about Linux, we have so many flavors of Linux. So
Correct.
what is the
Yeah.
flavor you are recommending here? Because
Hmm.
if I want to set up that the base operating system, I need to
Okay.
be get it ready on my side also.
Yeah, yeah, good question. So at the end, we are going to, touch upon Ansible, right? So Ansible is currently in the Red Hat product. So I would recommend to use Red Hat. Even if you could not find that OS, you have any challenge, then you can use Ubuntu.
Okay. Uh, and yeah, eventually we are going to end up in this Ansible, and Ansible is only. So
Hmm.
when it is comes to the Ansible, um, are we going to connect with any of the cloud side, saying that, okay, how do we manage the configuration like that, or how we are going to tie up with Linux, with
Hmm.
Ansible, and with the cloud operating
Okay.
system. Means especially on the configuration management, how do we going to tie up on that one?
Okay, yeah. So again, so Ansible is not only for Linux. That's one point. And in our class, we are going to cover how to control or monitor or do something on the Windows machines as well. Okay, so we are going to use initially we are going to touch with Linux control node, and then later on we will touch upon Windows control, so Windows servers to connect Ansible server to Windows machine. And once it's completed, then at the end I will show you how to configure interact with the cloud and load balancer and other environment. So we have a wide range of supported models, Ansible models. So during that module discussion, we will let you know how we can able to do something on the cloud environment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So any other clarification? Okay, let me check the chat. Okay, okay. Is the voice still very low?
No, it looks perfect, sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it is good most
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Initially, I could see there are some messages. Voice is very low. Yeah, but I think now it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, then. So, team, so that is the context, right? And as I said at the beginning of the session, we also have a session recording on Tamil for the entire content. You will also get access, and if you know Tamil, you can follow that as well, right? And at end of each module, each session, we will share the GitHub link where you can practice whatever the commands that we discussed, whatever the scripts that we have created, and it's going to be a hands-on demo session. And so I think Napoleon, you can introduce yourself from your technology background, so that way team knows.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So, yeah, my name is Napoleon. So I have around 18 plus years of experience in IT industry, both development, application development, and also infra automation. So currently I'm taking training. It's almost 10 years I'm taking the training. So I have done various automation using scripting, PowerShell, shell scripting, and Perl, Python. And also when it comes to orchestration, I have done orchestration workflows using VRO, so VMware tool, and also Scotch, Microsoft tool. So when it comes to DevOps, I have used a lot of tools to create a pipeline in Jenkins, GitLab. So for the repository, I used GitHub, GitLab. And also when it comes to configuration management, I used SaltStack, Ansible. So yeah, so I used a lot of automation tools, whatever is available in the market. So almost not all the tools, since we have a lot of tools available in the industry. but most of the tools which is highly used, I have used, and also I have given KT to a lot of people. Yeah, that's a small introduction about me.
Yeah, thank you, Napoleon. So, team, so make use of the session. So, you have joined live online session to interact and get your doubts clarified, right? And with Napoleon having plenty of automation experience, so most of out of the 18 years, he has spent most of his time creating automation and doing freelancing for multiple different customers as well. So he's currently working full time. Plus, he's also helping out with any projects and stuffs. And he has been associated with this for the training purpose for the last close to 10 years. So he has conducted training on PowerShell, Python, shell scripting, Ansible, and even Linux. So any questions that you might have on these technologies, you can get those things clarified. Okay, and if you feel that you have a question and which is not relevant to that particular day's topic, you can definitely get some time at the end of the each module where you can spend some time with Napoleon to get that clarified. So if you have a question specifically on the topic that we are discussing, feel free to um, ask the question there only. You don't have to wait until the end of the session. If the questions are relevant to the topic that we are discussing, you can definitely stop us anytime, ask the question, and get things clarified. So yeah, any other questions before we get into the discussion?
Stan, have you informed about the timing?
Yeah, so the timings will be 5 to 7:30 Saturdays and Sundays, right? So we thought of planning to start this session last week, but because of some festival time or auspicious day last week, we could not start. Okay, so we have just started today. Today is day one, and yeah, so we will continue to discuss every Saturday and Sunday during the weekends, and it's going to be India time 5 to 7:30. I know like three of you have joined from the US and a couple of you are from the Singapore. So yeah, so the timing will be 5 to 7:30, and if there are any changes, we will notify you well ahead of the session timing.